Okay, so here's just one more example of using the simplex method from start to finish. We want to maximize z equals this, all right? These are my equations, or my inequalities. I'm going to get my equations from, all right? And I've already written them out, all right? But if I go from x1 plus 6x2 plus 3x3 is less than or equal to 36 to an equation, I'm going to add in s1. Here I'm going to add in s2. Here I'm going to add in s3. All right. So there those three are. I've also got my maximization function with it solved for 0 basically, but I have everything over here where z was. Negative 10x1, negative 24x2, negative 13x3, plus z equals 0. Okay, so if I move everything down, I want to convert this to a tableau. Okay, so these variables that each of these correspond to, I've kind of labeled them right above. All right, and I can pretty much take that directly to matrix form. So there is this system converted into a tableau. Okay, now if I look through here, we know we definitely have some work to do because I have 3 negative numbers that are basically in this little area, right? Now, my most negative is negative 24. And I'm going to go through and make ratios here for everything else. 36 over 6 is 6. 45 over 6 and 46 over 6, we can tell already, are going to be bigger than 6, but I get 7.5 and I get 46 divided by 6 is 7.6 repeating. So I know there's my low ratio, and that means my pivot row is here. Okay, so I am going to pivot off of that element. Now, I've already typed it into my calculator to speed this along. All right, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to second matrix. If I haven't already, I'll go ahead and put all that in. This one is already in matrix A, and it needs to be in matrix A to get the pivot program to work. I'm going to go to PRGM, new pivot. I am pivoting off of, whenever I hit enter on pivot here, row 1, column 2. And I am going to get this. Again, I kind of have to move things around, and whenever I do move it around and scroll around to see that I have all of the elements and put them all down on paper, this is what I get. Now again, I need to move further. All right, I'm going to pivot again. I'm going to pivot off of this column because this is the most negative number in the bottom row. Negative 6 is more negative than negative 1. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to make ratios. All right, so I have 6 divided by 1/6 is going to give me 36. I've got 9 divided by 2 is going to give me 4.5. And I have 10 divided by 4 is going to give me 2.5. So my lowest ratio occurs here. And that means I am going to pivot off of that element in the third row and the first column. Okay, so again, PRGM, hit PRGM. I am going to hit enter here, enter again, and I am in the third row, first column. There we go. Okay, so next I have this. Whenever I scroll around and make sure that I write all the entries, and this is what I have now. Again, we're not in the optimal form yet. If we had an optimal solution, that guy would not be negative. So I need to go through and make ratios on the side again to see which element I'm going to pivot off of. Okay, so I have 67 over 12 divided by 7 over 12. Is just going to be about 9.57. All right, 4 divided by 4 is 1. And this guy's going to be negative, so I don't even have to worry about it, right? Because I want the smallest non-negative ratio. That means that this is going to come in right here. All right, this is my smallest ratio. That means that is my pivot row. My final pivot then is going to be on my second row, third column element. All right, so without changing anything on my calculator, I'm going to hit PRGM, go to new pivot, enter, enter, enter until we get to the row. This is my second row. This is my third column. And there we go. We have another matrix, and whenever I do scroll around and get it all written down, this is the form that it has. All right. And I know that we are finally done because all of these are 0 or positive. Okay. So to read my answer here, I know that x1 equals 3. Because this is all zeros, that's 3. X2 equals 5. Right? X3 equals 1. All of these are going to equal 0, all 3 of my slack variables. So I have S1 equals S2 equals S3 equals 0. And finally, I have that Z equals 163. So there's my maximal solution. My maximum itself is 163. That maximum occurs at 351. Okay.